Let's dive right into it. TV chef Mario Batali is now the subject of a criminal investigation. The NYPD is looking into complaints against him that include accusations that he drugged and assaulted women. Batali's restaurant group is also formally severing ties with him, and last night several of his accusers spoke out to 60 Minutes. Take a look.
He grabbed my breasts.
Were you serving him?
Yeah. He kind of reached around and...
He lunged forward, he grabbed my face, he started kissing me.
I woke up by myself. The first thing I think is I've been drugged. That was the first thing I thought, is I've been assaulted.
Yikes. And Samantha, we have multiple accusations. These women did not know one another. They have the same MO, the same story.
Right.
That definitely doesn't bode well for him, considering that they can all corroborate one another's stories.
Right.
What do you think this means for Mario Batali?
Well, I think he's finished in terms of his, definitely in terms of his TV career and his restaurants. Everyone likes a good comeback, but when we're talking about sexual assault, it's a whole different story. This isn't Martha Stewart, who made a comeback.
Yeah.
It's a lot different.
And especially with sexual assault, with there's a high recidivism rate when it comes to that. So a lot of people don't want to see a comeback because they know that it's rare to somehow have a self-aware moment and shed that, I almost want to call it armor, because there's such a layered response to it. But Erica, she is the comeback queen. She has a segment called The Comeback. Do you think there is any way for him to have a comeback, even if he owns up, if he gets treatment?
No, and I think when you're talking about a comeback, you need to not only atone, but somehow make it right in all aspects. There's no way to unring that bell when you've sexually assaulted someone. And let's be really clear about what this industry is. It's a privilege to be in this industry. It's a privilege to succeed in this industry. And when you decide that you are going to manipulate and use that privilege for ill, then you no longer get that privilege. So it's not like you can't have a comeback in order to become a productive person. Hopefully that will happen. But do we want to see your face in our living room? No, we don't.
No, we don't. And would you ever dine at any one of his restaurants? Would you take it that far? Because we always say here that you can...
Well, the restaurant group is now severing ties, so he's no longer part of that restaurant group, which means even if he supported that...
Let's say he opened up another restaurant. Would you advocate with your pocketbook, so to speak?
I wouldn't go out of my way to go there, no. Absolutely not. It's just, you know, it's tricky because a lot of women are corroborating each other's stories here, but the restaurant business, this is what it's kind of like in the restaurant business. And I'm not saying what he did was okay by any means. I'm just saying the restaurant business is, you know, you get a couple drinks after work. It's a late night industry. I'm just taking the other side here.
I understand what you're saying. And Jeff, we have very similar backgrounds, like growing up and serving in Chicago restaurants and stuff, so I get it. But I can tell you, out of every shady thing that I've seen or experienced, sexual assault was not a part of that. So I think it's a totally different animal when you are doing things that are assaulting or making people underneath you feel as though they have to comply with your wishes in order to continue to feed their family.
And I think going on that too, one of the restaurant managers for the Spotted Pig, where the woman who was shaded was essentially assaulted, according to her. Of course, Batali vehemently denies these claims and accusations, even though he has said, I made wrong choices, but he says, I did not do that. That's taking it a step too far. At the same time, this manager named Jamie Seat said that she and some of her coworkers were hanging out after closing time, and they were watching on a monitor, allegedly, as Batali was starting to touch and fondle a semi-unconscious woman. And the coworkers corroborate that story as well. That's when they interceded. So again, he said, she said, but there's a lot on the she said.
I agree. I agree. And DBL Nation, chime in. We do want to hear from you as well.